Hey, look at here.
Hey.
Hey. Honey, look at you looking all red.
I know. Get my hair. I'm getting it cut tomorrow, and I'll do my fresh color.
Are you going to get an afro?
No, no, I'm just
Braids?
getting it trimmed. I'm just getting it trimmed.
Oh, how eventful.
Just trims.
Just a trim. Okay.
Just trim.
Now we're back. And now I'm gone. And I'm back.
I see you again. It's all good.
See me again? I see you again.
I can see you. It's all good.
So, tonight, briefly, we're going to briefly discuss changing with the change. That sounds cute, but it's a lot easier said than done. But we got to change with the change. So, what has changed that you are not prepared for, and you now realize that you have to pivot and go with it? In any area, I don't care what it is that you've noticed. It could be in society, it could be it don't matter. What have you noticed that has changed and you're like, I don't want to do it that way, but I don't have a choice?
Are you asking me personally? Every
Yes, everything.
um yeah, I feel
Everything.
like work for sure has changed. I think with technology and stuff, it's shaking up workplaces right now, so we're all feeling that. And then I think too, personal stuff, your kids reaching, milestones, not always having time to be there for the milestones that they're having. And then just relationships, you know what I mean? Everything. Everything. Everything.
So I'm gonna tell you, I used to, growing up, my parents were much. I, they had me. My mom was 40 when I was born. My dad was like 48.
Are you
So
serious? I didn't know that.
yeah,
Girl, the struggle was
yes,
so real.
yes. So I wasn't necessarily wearing the latest, in the latest, because I, by the time I started coming into my own, they didn't even recognize that generation. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I remember saying, like, I'll be honest. So later on in life, my aunt ended up adopting me, and I remember, a friend of mine said, "Crystal, I need to send a page." I was outside playing with a friend. She's like, "I need to page my friend. Can I come in your house and use your phone?" And I said, "Yeah." So this is in the '90s when pagers were popular. She comes in the house.
I
She comes in the house.
feel
She
so
picks up
old.
right. We're y'all. We late 40s
Wow.
now today. So
Wow.
she comes in the house and she looks at the phone, and my aunt as had a rotary phone. In the '90s, she had a rotary phone.
What? Not
So
even the
my friend,
buttons. She had like like you couldn't even do the automated ones.
so I, so my friend is standing looking at this phone like, where's the pound sign? I can't, I don't get, I don't know, you know. So could you imagine? You can't text HOE. You can't type HOE
No,
to a major phone from a rotary
304,
304. So
187.
you can't do that from a rotary phone. So
That's so funny.
so what was happening is I finally told my aunt, I said, listen, we got to get rid of this phone. because I'm now officially embarrassed. We are the only person I think in the city that has it. Let it go.
We can't
So,
even call it press one.
so, so, Shauna, I'm telling you, my stories get better. They get better and they
That
get
is
worse.
hilarious.
So, what happened was the answer is no.
Can we pause for a second? Because both of our kids seem not to have any home training or know that we're doing stuff live.
But while we were like putting stuff together, we didn't hear a peep out of them. And now we're live and they're right here, like, so,
Right.
you know. So here's what she did. She called back then, she called the phone company, and the phone company was selling phones, obviously. So she got so she bought
I'm
a
picturing
phone.
my mother. I'm picturing my mother. By the way, as you're telling me this story, that's why I'm laughing. So I just spit a little bit of fluid back in my
So she bought a cordless phone from Tech. In addition to buying the cordless phone, so they convinced her to get a pager. So now I'm like, yes, I get a pager, and I'm looking at the pager, and it has Ameritech written all the way straight down the side of it. Like, oh yeah, you balling now with your Ameritech pager. So she gets the
right.
phone, and I'm talking. So no. So I'm like,
It's so real life, though. I'm sorry. This is some real life stuff. Yeah, I'm saying it's real life. It is.
hilarious. So I'm like, and it was just weird because she couldn't. It took her forever to let this rotary phone go, and then when she finally got the first, it was a touch tone. I'm sorry. First, we got a touch tone phone. Then she got a cordless, and that cordless stayed in her room. You could not touch that. It was like it was almost in a shrine. I'm like, you need to just build a shrine for it. I don't understand. I think it's not that serious.
And
It's
you
so
couldn't. Do you
it's
remember with rotary phones you couldn't sneak because you
not
hit
because it's
the
rude.
dial,
Like,
it rang in the other room? I don't know why I thought about that. It's just remember you would press it on one of the phones in the one room, but in the other room,
it would
the
ring.
other phone would ding, and it's like,
It
what?
would. It would. I know. Son, I know. So I couldn't sneak on the phone. I can't.
No.
I'm sneaking
And they were always in the kitchen on the wall, so you had this
all
real
in
long
the
phone cord
kitchen.
that was always getting. Why were the phones in the kitchen?
In case you
Was
had to
it
call the
because
fire
women was
department because you
supposed
were
to
in
be in the
it.
kitchen all day and they thought we was talking all day, so they put the phone in the kitchen?
I don't know, but I couldn't get a pass because not only was our phone in the kitchen, so there was two phones, one in her room and one in the kitchen, and I still couldn't like sneak on the phone at night because our bathroom was off the kitchen, so she had to come through the kitchen to go to the bathroom. You know how many times I got embarrassed talking to my little boyfriend at night, like because all of a
No,
sudden,
because I
like,
wasn't allowed to do that.
yeah, well, neither was I, which is why I got embarrassed so many times. I'd be like,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
so
wasn't
you know
doing
what?
that.
Get your ass off that phone. What are you doing on that phone? And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden you just hear all this rustling because I'm trying to hang up the phone. Or all of a sudden it was like, what happened? You was talking and then it then click. What
Yeah.
happened?
My mom
Yeah,
came in the room and killed me.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I'm one lung is functioning right now, but
Right.
I'll get
I'm part
there.
of the wall now at my house, like a
Telling
little
you.
plaque by my head that says touch to the phone after 10.
So back to what we were talking about, changing with the change. It took a lot just for her to go from a rotary phone
Yeah.
to a touch tone phone to a cordless phone, right? The
Yeah.
progression.
Yep.
So while I'm laughing at her, fast forward, I become an adult. And I used to see her uh, as an adult. I used to see her. She would write her bills out. She would write a check to. She would write a check and she would put a stamp on the envelope and she would
Mail the check.
wait. So I'm like, that is the epitome of adulthood, right?
Yeah.
And I measured my adulthood by my ability to be able to sit down and write a check for my bills and put a stamp on the envelope and mail it off, right?
I
Well,
have
in the
failed as an
90s,
adult.
that was what they were doing.
Yep.
Fast forward, I'm now an adult. I get into my 30s and I buy my first house. And I buy my first house around COVID. Now, this has nothing to do with COVID. But with COVID, everything had stopped. Everything had stopped, and then
Yep.
everything became just a slow crawl
Yep.
afterwards. Well, this one particular month, I don't know what possessed me because I don't know. I'm familiar with online banking at this point, but I decided this particular month that I was going to write a check to the bank for my mortgage. I write this check, and everything in me was saying, don't do that. Just create your online account and just pay it online.
Yeah.
Everything in me said that, but I said, no, I'm gonna just pay it because I don't want to do this stuff. I don't want
You
to
didn't
send
want
my
to get
money online.
online.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
do it. And this particular month it was late. And I called for like a week straight and they said they had never got it. And the guy ended up saying to me, why don't you just pay it online? And I'm like, because I got a fat checkbook. You don't know how many
Yeah.
checks I just ordered. I gotta
Yep.
write these checks.
Yeah,
It's
because that's
like
how we.
you write
I
the check.
just stopped paying my rent by check 6 months ago. They just finally got a website for us to
See,
pay online. And I'm like, I
and
don't remember to write a check. And who has postage?
oh,
I
honey, I
I mean,
love.
other
I
than
would
a
be
post office,
proud.
but when you work 9 to 5, you know what I mean. But like,
Baby,
I didn't need. I was like, where do I go to buy stamps?
I get up on a Saturday morning and be in those people's post office at that counter
Mm-mm.
proudly asking for some
I don't even want to
stamps.
leave my house, let alone go to the post office.
No way. But here's the deal. Again, changing with the change. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, do you not know how inconveniencing it is for me to write a check, put it in the mail, and hope
Hmm.
they get it in time enough so that I don't get a late fee?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, no, Crystal, no. No, it's like, no, Crystal. The times that we're in now is saying, let go of that checkbook.
Absolutely.
Create your online profile
Well,
and pay
even
for
everyone's
yourself.
wanting you to go paperless.
That I won't
You
do, but I'm
know,
gonna tell you why I won't do paperless.
I
I
won't
won't
do
do
paperless
paperless.
either. I
I
want to see.
forget.
Yeah, I need to. I don't want to go paperless because I like to see, like, I want to see it in my hand. Like, I can go online and look at it, but it's still that part of me that wants, I need that,
You
I
need
need
it,
to be able to look at what I'm doing. Because
and
if I'm reading it, especially on the computer, I'm going to skip
yeah, that
versus,
I see
you
what you're
know,
saying.
yeah,
And it's funny because you sit in front of a computer for a living. That's the funny part.
I
You read
know,
the computer all day for a
I
living,
know.
but I don't. I have to have it in my hand so that I can remember to pay it because for me
Okay,
it's out of sight, out of mind. You know what I'm saying?
okay. Yeah,
And
I have
there's
an Excel
certain place.
spreadsheet with my budget on it.
See, you a better woman than me, Shauna. You
Girl,
just
no. Just because it's on there does not mean it's successful. But it's on there so I know every time I get paid. This is when my
so
rent's due, stuff like that.
without going into detail about a time that you actually had no choice but to change. Tell me about the emotion that you felt behind having to change something that you have been doing for years and you're now forced to change it. Like this isn't optional. I have to do
Right.
this. or else?
Anytime I'm faced with something like that, whether it's personal, professional, kids, whatever, I get super anxious. I get paranoid if I don't know all the details. Um, if it's something that I have a say so in, maybe not the change, but how I handle the change or how I can move forward, I probably handle it better versus someone telling me, "Hey, you have to go do this," and it's not something I can control. Um, but I get anxious, especially if there's no, if the complete bigger picture is not provided to me. If I'm not told that 1 + 1 = 2, and you're trying to tell me that 3 × 3, and you're not going to tell me what plus that equals the other number, then I get lost because now I'm left assuming what that, last part of the puzzle is, and I get paranoid because now I'm thinking, okay, what does this change mean? Is it going to affect me? Am I going to be able to adapt to the change? And it turns into a very stressful situation for me.
So for me, it the initial knee jerk reaction, even though I have to talk myself out of it, but my initial knee jerk reaction to change that I don't initiate, and change like you said that I don't understand or that I didn't see coming, is what am I about to now lose? I don't know why I always equate change with loss.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm I'm about to lose something.
Okay.
What are you taking away from me here? And
Okay.
although until I do the my due diligence of the research or to get as much information about the change as possible, it's like
Do you go to the worst case scenario
um
of what I'm
it
about to lose, or do you just go to like
it
one
de-
thing?
it depends on what is changing.
Okay.
So when it comes down to changes on a job, right? On anybody's job, my knee jerk reaction is okay, you're changing this so that you can downsize, so that you can ultimately get rid of people, or you're changing this so that you can try to catch people up, so that you can ultimately get rid of people,
So
or
you
you're
get
trying.
paranoid. Yeah,
Yeah, when it comes down to
because you're,
occupational health.
especially when you're not given again the bigger picture
Correct,
of
correct, correct.
what you're changing something, but for what reason? What?
Yeah,
Why are you changing it? And I will say the one thing that I've learned over the last 10 plus years where I work now is that you have to stay flexible.
absolutely, Shauna. Absolutely.
I can tend to do that, but my knee jerk reaction, like you said, is not that. Like my knee jerk reaction is to kind of panic a little bit.
Mhm.
You may not even know it if you're sitting next to me, but on the inside,
I'm
you know what
sweating
I
bullets.
mean?
I'm
Yeah, I
shaking.
can look cool, calm, collected, and professional, but on the inside, I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to die.
Yeah,
Or you'll get the opposite, and my face is beet red, and no matter how relaxed I look, you know that I'm about to have a heart attack.
yeah.
But I do think that, staying flexible and being aware of staying flexible definitely helps fight that,
And
paranoia.
I'm gonna tell you what flexibility looks like for me.
Okay.
I I again, you got the knee jerk panic reaction, even though it may be internally, right?
Yep.
Flexible for me is okay, before you say no, ask questions. Before you say no, try it and see how it feels.
So you're adapting instead of resisting. You're trying
Correct,
to move forward.
correct. But I've had to learn to give myself a minute to feel whatever I feel so that I could get over it, especially if the change is not optional.
Right, because
Especially
in that way you're
if,
not acting out of emotion. You're acting out of
correct,
thought.
correct. And then two, finding an anchor, meaning meaning I could really like have a nervous breakdown about this, but how far am I gonna go with this?
Right.
How far? You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
you can act a fool on your job if you want to, but here's the bottom line: do you need your job or not? And that
Right.
doesn't mean that you are just blindly compliant. However,
Right.
it does
Right.
mean that you're gonna have to definitely be flexible. Ask the questions
Right.
that you need to ask.
And I feel like too, you have to have a starting point. Like if you, like you just said, do you want to keep your job? If you don't
Yeah,
want to, then your game plan is going to be different. But if you
right.
want to, then with what you're talking about with changing with the change, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to, like you said, you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to respond consciously and not reactively. And
Right.
I I fail at that, especially
Hmm.
with working from home for the past, what, 4 or 5 years. I can react to my screen.
Right.
I can get irritated and flick my pen or cuss at my screen, but in the office, I can't do that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
now I'm catching myself, okay, I got to stop swearing so much.
Hmm.
I have to stop getting irritated at stuff that's probably not that big of a deal because I'm not going to be able to sit in the office
Hmm.
and project that. So I'm trying to, over these next, what, 3 or 4 weeks now before I have to go back in the office, I'm trying to really work on that right now, personally in every aspect, so it just rolls with me evenly when I have to go back to not being reactive.
Right. 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 And I think part of changing with the change too is saying, and you got to be really mature at this point to say, you know what, maybe this change really is what I need.
Mhm.
Maybe it will work for me. Maybe I need to feel the way that I'm feeling about this because it's going to cause me to do something outside of my norm, and thus
Right.
it's going to cause me to elevate, it's going to cause me to
Yeah.
level up, and I'm just kind of in my comfort zone to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes growth just requires letting go, and
yeah. So
we've talked about that a lot lately.
yeah. So maybe the negative emotion that I'm feeling, the anger, the anxiety, and all the feelings, maybe it's just my complacency dying. And that's what I'm feeling. Not about the actual change itself. It is
Right.
now
Well,
my complacency is dying and I am
yeah,
it hurt.
and we talked about too, like, when you're making a change, especially if you've been at your company for a long time, you're gonna go through a sense, at least I have at previous companies, if I went to a new opportunity, I definitely felt that sense of mourning. It was
Oh,
almost like,
absolutely.
you're breaking up with it's like you're ending well, you are ending a relationship.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so I definitely went through the, like you said, am I gonna stay or am I going to go? And
Hmm.
then once you make that decision, okay, now that I know I'm going to stay, I have to reevaluate how flexible I can be, what that looks like, or if I'm not going to stay, how flexible do I no longer want to be? And what does that new version of me look like? And I think that that's one of the reasons why, like, me personally, like when I started thinking about doing the podcast and me and you just started having all these conversations, it was definitely one of the things that I really saw in myself, that I was ready. Like, okay, I'm coming to this pivotal point at my age, um, in my career, with my kids. Just, I'm 48, so I'm at that cusp. You know what I mean? And I feel like in order to solve the bigger picture and to get me ready for my second half, I have to step back and I have to do exactly, figure out what I want to change in my life, what I don't want to change, and come up with the plans that I need to follow to make those change happen, or to adapt to what I'm going to move into or keep the same, or whatever. And again, not just professionally, but personally, professionally, it merging all together. Because working from home, um, they do merge together. You
They
know,
do.
we have our separate spaces, but our work merges into, I mean, we're sitting here in our workspaces with our kids in our face, you know what I mean? So it's a combination of both, but that's kind of where I finally decided, like, I want to start over, and I want to not start over in my life, but just start over with my mind thinking, and get back to where when I was in the office, I had this professional mindset, and I dictated myself better. I just carried myself a little bit different now that I've been used to being at home. So,
I do want to address the one thing that you said that I think nobody wants to talk about and say out loud, that changing with the change, sometimes when I said sit with your feelings and how you feel about it, um, grieving. Grieving is a part of that.
for
And
sure.
we are allowed to grieve, like, because especially if you've already determined, like, okay, yeah, I don't have a choice in this matter right here. I gotta go this way. Um, Even though what's on the other side of it may very well be good for me in the
Right.
long run, I'm still leaving what I've already known, what I've gotten
Absolutely.
to.
It's unknown.
Feel a way. Well, I feel a way about the fact that I'm leaving something that I've been attached to for
Yeah.
X amount of time. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying?
absolutely.
And
And
I,
then you add on the stress of being a parent and having your bills, and it makes those changes and the getting through it, and the grieving part even harder.
well, yeah. So you have all of that, and it's like, okay. I often say, God, if you can help me sort my feelings, like, I think because there are some emotions and feelings that are hiding under other emotions and feelings, and you think
For
you're
sure.
over it, and then you're like, well, why am I still feeling like this? And it's like, oh, because
Hmm.
it was another emotion that was hiding behind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
It's layered. It's like,
yep.
okay, in one sense, I have to change, I have to pivot, and it may very well be a good thing, but, like, okay, this is what it's going to cost me to go do that. Like,
Hmm.
it costs you something to go
Absolutely.
something new and leave something
Yep,
old. And I think
absolutely.
if we take a minute and be honest and say, hey, I just need a week to cry about this. You know what I'm saying? I already know what I got to do. I
Yep.
already know how much
You
it's
have
going to
to
cost.
disassociate and go through the entire process of just
Yeah, like, I know this is gonna be,
acceptance.
and because there's so many different nuances to the change,
Hmm.
depending on what the change is. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying?
yep.
Some people are grieving the fact that they may feel like they don't have a choice but to stay. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That of itself is grief, because it's
it
like,
is.
I really want
Especially,
a new opportunity here, and I don't see a way out.
yeah,
I don't
especially
see a
when the
door for the
reason that you have to stay is something that you cannot change.
that part. That
Especially in, as we get older, a lot of people don't like to come out and say it, but the older we get, the less economically valuable we are. You put me on your health insurance, I'm older, I'm going to jack your rates up. I've already got some habits. You're not going to be able to start me out at $15 an hour because I've already had a full career.
right.
And, it gets to the point where it's like, do I want to start this new journey? And sometimes the answer is going to be yes, but there's no journey to go to. You're just, so I
And
think that's interesting because now it's like, well, what happens if you're at that place where, personally or professionally, right? It doesn't have to be either or, it could be both or whatever. And you're stuck, and you don't, maybe someone doesn't want to be with their boyfriend anymore or their girlfriend, and they don't have the money to move out. So they're kind of stuck. Or if you're at a job and you can't go somewhere because they're not going to pay you more, you're stuck. And then it's like, now you have to go back and re-accept and reinvent because you don't want to be miserable. You got to kind of lie to yourself and say, okay, we're going to start this over with a new A in the class and approach it like a whole new experience.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine one time, and I said, you know, I'm responsible. I said I am very responsible. I said I'm doing all the things. I said, you know, the lights are on. It's warm in the wintertime in my house. It's cool in the summertime in my house. We're not skipping meals in this house. I said I'm doing what I'm supposed to
I
do.
could probably skip.
Probably should, but I said I'm very responsible. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I said, and I don't like any of it. I'm not happy about it, not one bit.
No, I'm tired
I,
of adulting.
I said I'm grateful. I'm appreciative.
Hmm.
I said, but I'm so not happy with being responsible. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No,
But to your point,
I'm ready to crawl back in the womb, dude. Like, let me just. Bleep.
so and to your point about like you hit the nail on the head when you said, okay, now I got to reinvent myself. And I'm now living in a time, and I'm gonna speak for me. I'm now living in a time where I heard somebody say this, and I agree with it 1,000%. They said, you know, people are saying AI is replacing people's jobs. He said AI is not replacing people. AI is replacing the people that don't want to learn AI. And I was like, okay.
I'll take that. I'll
Oh,
take that.
I said,
I'll
oh,
take that.
okay.
I personally wouldn't have looked at it that way,
Oh,
but you
he
saying
and
it, I'll take
he,
that.
yeah, and I had
It
to like,
goes back to the phone. It goes back to the rotary phone.
yeah.
And it made me laugh when you said that because my mother, bless her, dude, could sand a floor, could paint, could lay carpet, literally could do anything. But I bet she couldn't work a VCR
Mm,
or a digital camera
mm.
or a phone. And that's why I laughed about the phone because I remember when the phone companies were offering the free phones or the payment plan phones. And I remember watching my mom really struggle. And I also remember watching my kids' grandparents with the photos. Remember the digital cameras became a thing and watching them really struggle
I remember
with the
taking
new cameras and
to Revco, honey, to get the films
yeah.
developed. You
So
know,
I think every generation kind of like honestly just creating this live stream or this podcast, I have learned more about AI um, than ever.
absolutely,
And and
absolutely.
I had a very negative outlook on AI until
You
I
did
needed to
it.
spruce up some resumes and reword some stuff even for the podcast and it was like I have a Shaunaism that's stuck in the back of my head. And if I say it to somebody who knows me, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But if I say it to someone who doesn't know me, they're going to be like, what are you talking about? So being able to go to ChatGPT, I when I DoorDashed last summer, I was having hot flashes. And I didn't know if they were anxiety hot flashes or menopause hot flashes. I accidentally picked up an order. It was a 45-minute drive. For 45 minutes, I drove and I talked to ChatGPT about how to know this and how to know that and breached off with this. And she could remember the second thing out of the five things that she told me. And I'm just like, oh, whoever created ChatGPT is a genius.
And they're getting my money. So it's time for me to go.
$9.99 a month, homie. They are getting my money.
It's time for me to go create. But I remember, and I remember when. So remember when self checkout became a thing, and I remember
I don't
going to
like
the.
self checkout.
So I remember going to the grocery. I have a love hate relationship with it. I'll get to that in a minute.
I
But I
don't
was
like
in
it
the
at
grocery
all.
store with my aunt, old school, and we had a cart full of groceries. And in my young, silly mind, I'm like, yo, self checkout open. Let's go over there because There's nobody in line. I don't want to stand in line. And she's like, no, 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 let's stay right here. And I'm like, no. I said, come on over, honey. By the time we finished that, I think her blood pressure was just
Yeah.
was just through the roof.
The only
And
way I'm scanning my own stuff is if I'm getting a discount on my groceries.
see, it ain't see for me. I look at it like, let me
This
hurry up
ain't
and scan my
Aldi's.
so I can hurry up and get out. That's
No,
kind of how I look at it.
that's
But
I
her,
order
in her
my
mind,
groceries. That's what that's for.
but in her mind, in her world, she has a system. I'm putting my stuff up on this
Hmm.
conveyor belt. I get to look again to see what I got. I get to look again at the stuff to make sure it ain't, you
Yep.
know what I'm saying, ain't no holes in it.
Yep.
And I get to watch her to make sure
Add it
it's
up.
ringing up the right play, the
That's
right
right.
way. And I get to, tell her to bag it a certain kind of way. I can,
Hmm.
like, I didn't
And
know that that
I'm
was
not
her.
standing here sweating as a. I'm assuming that your aunt was, you know, grown at the time, right?
Yeah, she was
So
older.
I'm
Yeah, she was in her
47, 48 years old at the store, freaking sweating to death, trying to pack groceries, and
50s.
I'm not getting a disc. No, no,
See, and
no,
see, again, I don't.
no.
To me, I don't care. Point, honey, Red. We keep going back to my point. Um, Again, it's like, oh, it's convenient. I'll go ahead and just do it myself because I
Yep.
don't have the time to be. Well, why don't you just order your groceries from the app and drive and pick them up? Wait, no, I can't do that. I need to be able to touch my stuff. And it's like, okay, but you just finished saying you don't have time.
So I will say this. I do understand that to an extent because I don't want people touching my produce. And I feel like every time they pick out my produce, it sucks. But I did that with my dad too. Um, my dad couldn't, he couldn't drive at the end. And you know what I'm saying? And my brother's working all these hours and my dad wants stuff. And I told him, well, okay, you know how to use a cell phone, you have a computer, get Walmart, and they'll bring you whatever you want. You don't have to, because he would always feel bad about bothering somebody, which of course it was never a bother, but you know how parents are. And it was like, okay, so get on this app, you can order whatever you want. I mean, I had a Christmas tree delivered one time from Walmart. It was amazing. And you get like, well, you get all this other stuff, but anyway, but it was like showing my dad,
Oh, so you a
it
better woman than
it
me
opened
because
up a
you had to
whole new
deliver
world
the.
for my dad. Yeah, it was
Wow. The
great.
best I could do was say, I'm going to just go pick it
Oh,
up. So now, in changing with the change, I'm having to intentionally say, Crystal, this, and this you can order.
yeah,
You know, it's not just for
right.
Amazon. Your local grocer has this as an option. Do that.
Yep,
You know you're tired. You know you don't like running through the store after work.
right.
Just order it and pick it up when you get off from
And
work. And just you don't even have to get out your
you can
car.
start on small stuff, stuff that you don't care if like hair
Yeah.
products or
Yeah.
um, and you can
Bleach, laundry,
yeah,
cleaning
like for
stuff.
me the
You know what I
Walmart
mean?
there the app shopping was nice because it took away from spontaneous shopping because I wasn't in
Yes.
the store seeing stuff that
I
I
agree.
didn't need. So I have a list that I go to. It's my list. Unless I need something different, I can stick to it and that's it. I don't have to worry about anything else. I don't have to worry about the anxiety of oh, do I need this or am I going to forget this? And it reminds me of what I need. It's beautiful. I just feel like whether it's work, relationship, whatever, I want to work smarter, not harder. I have
Mm-hmm.
done all
Mm-hmm.
the hard lessons. I have done the hard jobs, the
Mm-hmm.
hard relationships, the hard friendships. I've done hard, hard, hard. I don't want to do that no more. I'm to the age now
Mm-hmm.
where I want it to be easy. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like just the conversations that we've had just to even prepare for this, I've already started seeing things in a different light. for sure. Last week, I mean, the conversations we were having just a week ago versus the conversations that we can have today are two different level of converse. You know, because I'm no longer in that place of survival anymore, where I'm going to be paranoid because I'm worried about this, or this. I already have my plan. Whether it's contingencies or an emergency escape plan. You know what I'm saying? I've got a plan in place. And I did some reading last night when we were talking about, because when you first said change with the change, I knew what you meant, but um, sometimes my brain just moves slow and I don't interpret stuff as quickly as it said. So I'm like, I want to talk. I want to be ready, but what does that mean? You know, what does that really mean? So I liked the way that the definition that I got for it was for self help, and this is just basically for self help, right? Not in general. That it was a reminder that change is constant and resistant. If you resist it, it just makes it harder. And I feel like everything that we just talked about kind of goes back to that, where if you know, once you start your process and you figure out I'm going to go left or I'm going to go right, personally, professionally, altogether, whatever, um, then I think the first thing you have to do is say, I'm going to stay flexible. And
That's good,
whatever
Shonda.
unknown changes are going to come to me, I'm going to try to embrace them and learn from them the best that I can, because they're going to get thrown at us. And like you said, you know, all we can do is identify it, what it is, adapt to it, or keep it moving and hopefully continue to grow, you know, throughout the entire process.
That's that's dope. Because
Not trying to be funny, but that's Chat GPT.
I love it. I love
Because,
it.
you know, I can go to Google and say, what does this mean? But I just, you know, I really wanted, I'm very literal. As people
Yeah.
are getting to know us, right? I'm a
Yeah.
very literal person. So even
Hmm.
if I get, when we got our reviews and they're saying, here's your job review. Well, do you know how many ways I can interpret a sentence? So I would go to Google and put it in and say, in a career setting, what does this mean? Because then I knew that the person that was going to be reading it in a career setting, I was matching what they wanted to see.
Right.
So
Or
when
what
I
they
looked, right, and I wanted to introduce myself, obviously, in an appropriate manner, so I didn't sound like I didn't know what I was talking about. So when we talked about this, I thought it would be a good idea to put it into Chat GPT just to see what phrases it gave me, what I could relate to, and everything that you said about the adapting instead of resisting and staying flexible in your identity, responding, you know, consciously and not reactively. I mean, these were big things that it hit on, and I was like, this really makes sense. And you know, something else that was interesting on the personal side when you said, you know, what's something that happened, you know, I don't know if I'm sure I'm not the only female that does this, but when you're not getting your partner's full attention, and I don't mean like the average what you're supposed to get. I mean 120% because we're females and we're special that way. Um, and I would get nervous and paranoid and anxious for no reason. And I feel like that's part of, you have to stay flexible. You have to know, just like your job, am I going to go road A or road B? And if I'm doing this, am I staying flexible? Am I being sensitive to my partner's needs, and what, or am I just no? And it's the same thing when you figure out, okay, I'm going to be sensitive to my partner's needs. I can still stay flexible in my own identity though.
That's right.
I can be there for him and take care of his needs, but I can still be myself and still be in my identity and not let it affect me, because 9 out of 10 times when there's something wrong with our partner, man or woman, it has nothing to do with us.
Nothing.
But as a woman, that's the first place our minds go. Um, and me responding, you know, consciously versus reactively is me saying he's not responding to me because he's probably taking a nap or he's busy or he's doing something else. You know what I'm saying? Versus me being like, oh my God, are you dead? Are you okay? Are you cheating on me? Which is ridiculous. And I definitely think with that comes the growth, even in your own relationship, because now you have to let go of whatever insecurity brought that there to begin with. And so, for me, at least right now, I have a lot going on professionally and then new personal adorable stuff, but there's always going to be that learning curve, and it's kind of the same together. Like it's helping me structure both together, if that makes sense, being able to dissect them together.
I mean, I that's just perfect because I mean,
That's
it's
good,
like
we're
this.
perfect.
Yes, we are. Oh, we can't
Because
help
we're so
it.
perfect, duh.
And if I always say this, and I'm a flip. I'm gonna go speak on the side of that fence. Back to, but also it circles back to your point about not only being flexible in your identity, but also knowing your own strengths, right? Like I think sometimes we have to say, I don't know what's gonna come, but it's not gonna take me out. And so then oftentimes I've had to ask myself, so okay, so what if he's cheating? Other than your feelings being hurt, is it gonna kill you? So you can't sit but so long and cry about this.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
For
And
sure.
and if he is, then you need to know now so that you can move on. Because
Right.
the requirement here is for you to move on.
Right.
If he's not it or she's not it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah, it's the same thing with the job. It's the road A or road B, whichever one you're taking. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, but to your point about, your identity, you got to know, like, I'm awesome from jump. And yeah, you can hurt my
Hmm.
feelings. Yeah, you can make me cry. Yeah, you can really disappoint me. Yeah, and you might even be able to make me stay in bed for 2, 3 days. But you can't kill me.
Right.
I'm gonna get back up. I promise
And
you.
then you have to figure out even deeper than that is what part of that is even coming from, is it even real?
Yeah,
Right?
so perfect point.
Professionally and personally, right? Like
Yeah, where is this
is
coming from?
there a reason to even be sitting there saying, is he cheating? Or
Yeah,
is my job gonna fire me? Is there even a
yeah.
basis for that insecurity? And if there's not, or however you know what I mean, if there's not, then what's underneath that to figure out why you're doing that? Because 9 out of 10 times there there's nothing weird going on. You just, your pattern gets knocked off, or it's an off moment, and we do what we do. Once the structure or the pattern is broke, we think we did something wrong.
I do think to your point, and this could absolutely be another episode, another two, three,
Oh my
four
god, there's
episodes.
so many.
But I think we now got to talk about how to hush the voice of trauma,
Yes.
because that's all that is. You've had a traumatic event in this area,
Yep.
two, three, four, five events in this area that's now dominating how you lead in this area and how
Yes.
you live in this
Yes.
area and how you
Yes.
function in this area. And that
Yes.
doesn't make you wrong. That doesn't make you bad.
Right.
That makes
Right.
you a human being
It's
that
just the
has a
reaction that I
that,
have for now.
that has an issue that we got to go back and deal with.
Yep.
We gotta
Absolutely.
go back and put this to bed. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? That you
Yep.
know what I mean?
Absolutely. And
But
I'm really excited to talk more about that, and how to hush those up, because you've given me so many ways to do that. So I'm excited for you to share that with everybody else. So if they're having that issue too, maybe they'll be able to use one of those
Okay.
things and hush their those voices too, because for some of us, not all of us, right? And not just for women, for men too. For some of us, those voices have ruined opportunities, relationships, friendships, things that you didn't even mean to lose because you just didn't know how to react or to respond or how to think before you speak.
Yeah,
And
and you didn't know what was real versus
yeah,
what was being rehearsed. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
oh yeah. Yeah, if you're meeting, just like I feel like with your job and a person, are you meeting their representative or are you meeting the real person?
Yeah.
And at your job, are you seeing the real job during your interview or the first couple weeks, or is it the honeymoon stage of your job and then it
Well,
you
I
see
think
what's
I
the
think
wizard behind the closet? You know what I'm saying?
I think, and I'm again, so many episodes we can have in this, but I think we meet what we desire in the beginning. In a perfect world, this is how I desire to act and behave with my significant other. Um, and this is how I desire to feel. So I'm gonna act like this to get you to get mimic what it is that I really want to feel, and you know what I'm saying. And in the interview, you know, you notice they never discuss why that position. They never. Oh, we had to fire the last person because
Ah!
you ever noticed
No,
that?
I'm about to write that down. Why is this position open? That's a really good question. See,
We,
I mean, because if you go, look, if you go to I'm gonna ghettoize this. If you go to a real nice or nice neighborhood and you see a real nice house and it's way
yeah.
cheaper, who died?
What happened here?
Who's haunting the house? What kind of BS are we fitting to find? So
Yeah.
you're absolutely correct, because what if there's a whole bunch of positions open? Why?
Why are you making me an offer and I only answer question number two? You know what I'm saying? Like what happened here? What happened here that
I
you
would have never thought to ask that, but and I just threw my pen. I don't know where it went, so I got to get another one because I'm writing that down,
you know
because that's a great interview question to ask. Why is the position open?
yeah. And um they never talk about what their what their steps are or what their plans are or what their processes are if you don't ever meet their goal that they set. They talk
Oh,
about
I
the
asked
goal.
that.
They talk about, you know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
it's like, well, how long has this position been vacant? And not
It's
only
almost like asking a guy, "How long have you been single?"
yeah, how long then we don't really we asked that like after I don't know. I don't even think I've asked that question. I may need to ask that question.
On like dating apps and stuff. You've never been like, "How long have you been single?"
Yeah, but
Girl, that's a whole show.
because I'd be I'd just be so
I
focused on
want to
whether
know.
I really like you or not.
Yeah,
And if
I
I
want to
really
know.
like you, I kind of don't care. Now, if you got a newborn and you're on this app, that's a problem for
That's
me.
trifling.
If
Sorry.
we gotta can't
I don't
reschedule.
care if it was a one night stand and it just happened. Don't you think you should be doing something else?
Hey, if you gotta reschedule our date because you
Taking a
gotta meet
daddy and me class. You know what I'm
no
saying?
because you gotta meet her in labor and delivery, it's a wrap.
Oh, so let me just say this. At my age, that's a no. Okay. I can't have kids. Uh,
Like,
no.
hey man, she need me to take her to the hospital. Uh-uh.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
You need to stay up there with her. Don't call me back because I will not be.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-mm.
I here's another episode too. As far as our identity and then knowing what works for me, because you can tell me all day to be flexible, and that's right. I agree. I do need to be flexible, but for who? Who do I
Right,
need to be flexible for? Meaning, you want me to be flexible because you don't really know what you're doing and you just want me to
right,
go with it? Or do I
right,
need to be flexible for my own growth?
right,
So, be flexible in the things that I'm achieving and the things that I'm going after. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
And am
It
I
tells
being
me I need to
flexible? Are you going to be flexible back?
correct. Tell
You know
me
what I'm
that,
saying?
I can be flexible to be a team player on my
Right.
job.
If I'm working this extra shift, you
Absolutely.
know, are you going to be flexible with me when it comes time to assigning out who gets days off around holidays, who gets first pick?
Right. And so
The person that
the
calls off all the time or the person that shows up for work? Me
correct.
personally, and I'm lucky because in my experience, that's the grace that I have been given so far is you come to work, you do your job. Um, and I always say I don't care, but I have been given that grace because I do stay flexible.
Yeah.
And so I think you're right. It's like, what are you staying flexible for? And are you giving back to me what I'm going to be giving to you?
Yeah. But my flexibility has to benefit both of us. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like it needs to
Yeah,
work
for
for you in
sure.
the moment, but it needs to work for me down the
Yeah,
road.
absolutely.
And so, you know, in relationship, understand, okay, this person is human. This person probably had a bad day. Today is not it. So they may not be as upfront and center with me, but at the same token, it's like, okay, I can give you some grace today. I can give you that. But like when when you gonna come back to yourself? Like don't
Yeah,
use my
yeah,
flexibility as a crutch to do you. Basically
yeah,
is what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, for
I
sure,
think
for
that our
sure, for
your
sure.
flexibility
That's a
needs to be,
really,
huh?
and that's a really fine line. Like, that's a
Yeah.
really fine line,
Yeah.
professionally and personally.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I kind of look at it like this. Me being flexible, if I have to flex, it needs to benefit me at some point. It may not benefit me immediately, but it needs to benefit me at some point. So yeah, I'll go ahead on and work this extra shift, but I need to know that when the day comes, and I don't know when that'll be, but I need to know
Right.
that when that day comes, that I can have this day, have a day if I needed it, or I could have
That's right.
whatever I'm requesting in
Right.
reason.
It's
You know what I'm
gonna
saying?
it's gonna show in my review, or it's gonna show somewhere where it's gonna
Or that
matter.
it counts. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
we talk about again, and we're gonna wrap this up. Changing with the change, it has to count for something. We're not nobody's changing just because they don't have nothing else better to do.
Right.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Somebody somewhere is benefiting from it. And if
For
I'm the
sure.
one that's got to change, if I'm the one that's got to be flexible, it needs to benefit me somewhere. So
Right.
I'm gonna say go back and look at all the times where somebody's telling you you need to be flexible or you need to do this, and it actually was to your hurt.
Right. Right. Right.
And to your
Like,
point, especially
yeah,
in
for sure.
relationships, Shauna, it's a fine line. Some
It
jobs will
is.
tell you to be flexible, and then they say, "Well, you should be glad you get a paycheck." Well, no, I
Yeah.
got a paycheck because I came to work today.
That's
That's
right.
not
That's
a
right.
paycheck. I didn't get a
That's right.
paycheck for flexibility.
That's right.
That's not in my hourly
That
wage.
that that part. That part. That
Flexibility is
part.
reflected in my hourly
Yeah.
wage. Excuse
That's
you.
right. That's right.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
And for like everybody that, for everyone that's going to be watching, like, this is just like, we wanted to just do like a small recap of stuff that, we wanted to talk about and why we wanted to start this. And me and uh, Miss Caramel have had all kinds of conversations, because we both have stuff going on, professionally and personally. And we just decided that if I wouldn't have had her to bounce stuff off of and my other circle of friends and vice versa, I don't know that I would be able to look at things the way I'm looking at them right now. So we wanted to
Everybody needs
bring
some
this to
honey.
everybody. Yeah, for sure. We wanted to bring this out to everybody and try to talk about stuff that we feel like everybody is talking about or thinking about, but maybe don't have someone on that level to talk to or even know how to word it. Because I'll say something and she'll completely reword it, and I'm like, what? And then she'll reword it, and I'm like, I didn't, and it makes my brain hurt because I'm like, I wouldn't have thought to make it that easy. So this is me and her saying we're both ready, or at least I am. I feel like you are as well. That we're both saying that we're ready to start our change. We're ready to start here and kind of all do it together and talk about every time we do a show, what's something that is challenging us. We're gonna do different parts as far as work stuff and relationship stuff. It'll be more uh, geared and outlined and structured on our live shows or whatever. But we just wanted to give everybody at least a chance to understand why we decided to do this podcast. And we just want it to be a place where we can all come and talk to each other and learn from each other and try to provide some advice or comfort or I don't even know, man. Sometimes I feel like you just need to cry to somebody.
You just have to get it out. You really
Yeah.
you have to get it out.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we know what to do, but I think in that moment, I just I just can't somebody hold my hand.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not gonna go through. I know I'm going through. I know
Right.
I gotta go through. But just
Right.
hold my hand while I walk through it. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Me personally, I've handled so many things by myself in my
Yeah.
life.
Hmm.
And if I would have had someone, not, and I don't want to say a friend, because I have had amazing friends for years. Um, but if I would have had, I don't know if you want to label it a family member. I don't even know how you label the seat, right? My guardian angel on my shoulder, whatever. If I would have had the hand to hold on some of these circumstances that I came to, and had no idea that that was a thing that was going to happen
Yeah.
or that could happen, or having a midlife crisis was going to be a thing at 45, or just all the stuff that we're all going through, I would have done it with a lot more grace.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And it probably would not have been as traumatic.
well, and I wouldn't have been so hard on myself.
Absolutely.
I would not have been so hard on myself. I wouldn't have felt like such a failure when I wasn't baking cookies and I was buying them at the store instead for the party because I was just too tired at 7:30 at night to bake some freaking cookies. So
Hmm.
I think that, all the stuff that we're going to talk about is going to be really cool. And I'm so excited. And
I am too.
yeah, I'm so
Um,
excited.
because and to your point, and we gonna get off of here because both me and Shauna could talk until the cows come home
Forever. Well, girl,
and go
first
back
of all,
out.
I don't know about your friends, but any of my friends know that I don't have no adult stimulation all day because I work from home. So if you're the first person that gets in my face or gets on my phone
Y'all gonna
call the
get it.
first time to the
We gonna
day, it's a
get it.
wrap.
We gonna get it. But
It's a wrap.
I do think this is important because we get to share our heart, and we get to share all things women, all things feminine, and the things that women we I heard a man say this. He said women don't talk about what they think. They talk about what they feel. Men don't talk about what he thinks. Men don't talk about what he feel. He talk about what he think. Which is why women and men are always misinterpreting each other because we're always talking about how we feel and the men are always talking about what they think. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah. That's
And so,
I think too that, and I can't wait to have this discussion. Men are
oh,
really that
y'all see the
simple.
meal you guys will be able to eat from, right?
Yeah. They're
Like
just They're
we haven't even
literally
started
that.
talking
They're
about
that
money.
simple.
Huh?
I said they're literally that simple.
Yeah. But I was saying we need to we sometimes I just need to know that I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
I
for
know that
sure.
I'm not the only one, then I could take it a little bit better.
You know, you're
You know?
not crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
We are
That I'm
made
not
to
making this
feel
up.
like we are going crazy so many times during the day. It's
Mhm.
so nice for someone else to say, no, I'm going through that too. And I'm like, all right, I'm
Yep.
not
I
crazy.
do that
It's
too.
not just me.
And I'm gonna
Thank
tell you,
God.
you recover a lot quicker when you don't think your
Yes.
problem is unique.
Well, because you don't take it personal. You're not hard
Nope,
on yourself.
nope, nope. I kind of I carried a lot of guilt and a lot of shame when I didn't have to,
Yeah.
because there's nothing that I was dealing with that was that unique. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
we
putting
sure
all
didn't
this
know that.
right. We like, ooh, I can't no ain't nobody messing up like this. Oh,
No.
honey, they messing up worse than that. You
Yeah.
just you just don't know
Girl.
their name.
I do know some of their names.
I mean, I know a couple, but
I know some of their names. I'm
you
just
know,
saying.
it's like, and sometimes I don't necessarily need you to tell me what to do. I just, if I could just get this heaviness out, I could receive clarity.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
we're not as jacked up as we like to make ourselves seem, and we're not as jacked up as we feel most days either.
I know that I thought I was, but just like having a couple conversations with you, and you were even like, wait a minute, this is this and this is that, and stop relating this to this. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh my
don't mix the
God, you
two.
are correct. And it just changed the whole. I'm walking around like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't, I'm noticing something and it's irritating me that this eye keeps sticking up a little bit more than the other one.
You know
And
what?
it's
Then it's
making
time to
me
log off. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry
look,
about it.
it's like, but yeah,
I think your
I
eyebrow ready
just,
to log off.
it's weird, dude. Look, it's like, well, this eyebrow always goes up because when I take pictures, I'm always like, so this eyebrow just stays up like that naturally. It's pretty interesting, isn't
Well,
it?
it's you still cute, but before my wig get any wild ideas
I'm
and start
I'm
spinning
so
around on
done
my
with
head,
you.
I
Um,
before this thing starts spinning around on my head, we need to log off.
yes, and so we're gonna have. Are we gonna do it on Wednesday then? Are we gonna
Yeah,
do our live on Wednesday?
that's Wednesday.
Okay, and then we'll have the topics out on YouTube and on Facebook before. And
Yes.
then if you guys follow the stuff that's on there, if you have any ideas that you'd like us to talk about or topics, just let us know. Here's the email address on the screen. If you want us to cover something that maybe you're going through and you don't want anyone to know, you can just say, hey, can you talk about this? This is something I'm experiencing. Or if you know one of us and you're not comfortable putting the other one, you could go to one of us separately as well and say, hey, can you guys cover this? But I don't want anyone to know it's about me.
Yeah,
Or
we
you
will
can
not call
you
names.
or you could put your name out there if you want to, or and we can talk about different stuff. We're also going to have our chat when we do the live feed so that everybody can engage in the conversation.
Or if
We have
anyone
a
had a rotary phone, I would love to know that because I'm a little still little kind of that still
I have
bothers
a
me.
lot of younger friends, but I feel like most people that should be coming in here, at least from my group, should know what the hell a rotary phone is. I'm just saying.
I
Because,
see it. I'm looking at it right now. Like I still remember that.
yeah, I do
But
too.
you know, we want to. But we eventually, at the end of the day, after we finish talking about all this stuff, we hope that it will make you lighter. That you can at least walk away with some. Okay, this is going to be my next step. This is how I'm going to get
Yeah,
through this. This is how I'm going to breathe through this.
yeah.
Okay, and ultimately, you'll be laughing. One day, you're going to look back and all it
I
was.
was about to say, if nothing else, we can be entertaining
We can.
sometimes.
We can. I mean, between her eyebrow, my spinning
I'm
wig,
trying to. Good. This thing is
what?
deadly, dude. It's like.
It's got a mind of it. It's trying to start its own look, it's trying to start its own
It's
podcast.
the Dollar Tree beauty products I've been using.
Stop that. You stop that now. It's the wonder your face hasn't melted off. Stop using that stuff from there.
No, I follow this lady on TikTok who
Or
is
unfollow her.
she's an
She's gonna,
esthetician.
she's
I
gonna
might have
cause
said that
your
wrong.
face to
But
melt
she
off.
shows you what products you can use and what products you can't use. And I will tell you, there's some stuff I've gotten and my face looks amazing. Like that's a whole nother thing. But anywho, but we really appreciate
Back to that
everybody
eyebrow.
watching and we appreciate everybody already subscribing our little subscriber
Thank
list and
you
stuff.
for subscribing, guys.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
And we're gonna have some merch and stuff that's gonna be coming out too. So, just we have so many ideas. That's why this first one was all over the place because we've been talking about this for a while. We're busting out at the seams. We can't wait to get started. So we just hope that you guys come back and join us. And then Miss Caramel, did you have anything you wanted to add before I do the outro?
Listen, again, y'all come back so that we can have fun, so that we can all heal together. You're not, and whatever you're dealing with in life, you're not dealing with it by yourself. You have a community here. We're actually building a community here. So just come join us, even if you just sit quietly for a while just to kind of get a feel, like
Yeah,
listening
for
to what,
sure.
what those girls really talking about. That's fine too. But just know that you're not by yourself. Whatever you're dealing with, if we haven't already dealt with it, we'll go find somebody who
Let's
has,
talk. Let's deal with it together.
and we're gonna deal with it together. And there's no shame here. There's
No
no guilt here.
judgments.
There's no judgment here.
Yep.
There's no embarrassment here.
Mm-mm.
Because I just gave one example of a rotary phone. I haven't really went all the way into my bag of tricks. I'm telling you, the ways that I have been embarrassed
Girl,
and
we might get kicked off of YouTube if we start going into that stuff. Yeah.
so we've been there, done that. No judgment. We just want to help you get through it too. Okay. So
And we want you guys to help us get through our stuff too.
yeah, we going through some
It's
stuff.
not just about us helping y'all, it's about you guys helping us grow too. So,
That's a community. All right. So we're gonna see y'all next week. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make
peace.
sure y'all like. Make sure y'all leave all the comments. Make sure y'all send all the emails, and we will respond to them. Okay. Good night.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
Peace.
Please hit the like and subscribe button. Stay blessed.
Fuck.